What's going on? Hopefully everybody can hear me good. I feel like I can hear everything good. It's Friday. It's the first day in 2 weeks that I'm feeling better. So, yeah, hopefully everybody had a good New Year's. Hopefully everything's panned out for you. Today, I brought back OPXY and some OP Field and some Electron, you know, my favorite stuff. I figured coming back feeling good. Today we would talk about mixing is the concept. I think the greater concept of anything that we do. And when I say mix, that's how you mix different instruments together. You know, that could be teenage engineering stuff. That could be Electron. That could be Ableton, plugins. When you mix, you're mixing everything in the soundscape, right? And I try to make people mindful of not just how you mix sounds, but like picking the sounds that you mix, right? So I got a notebook. It's nice and blank. I really like doing this when I'm teaching these classes, and I'm just going to kind of adjust a little so you can see what I'm writing. And when I say mix, the word mix comes from Latin. No, I'm kidding. Mix audio. Like, what do we think about when we think about mixing audio, right? And I'm going to talk about it through, you know, the lens of the OPXY, but I'm also going to talk about it through the lens of producing a song, right? And I say drums are part of a mix. I say a bass is part of the mix. I say there's going to be some type of either the chords of the song is kind of one of the things I think about. And then I think about like melody. And down the line, we're going to have things that are like solo, instrument, you know, doesn't matter which one. We might have vocals, which depends on the music, what you're working on, right? All right. And I'm going to kind of stop here. Because the way that you cascade any of this stuff, like hats, kick, snare, and there might be like a percussion element. I'm not sure, right? And then there's another thing that you're thinking about is the bass. Now, important factor here, right? The bass itself, there shouldn't be like 1,000 basses. You know, it's one bass. Or what we call a call and response. Why would I say that? Well, dubstep, you know, there's a lot of other stuff that does it. But usually there's like a bass sound that's like brah, 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 wah, 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 wah. You know, and drum and bass does that too, where there's like one sound doing the first part of the bass, and then there's like a second sound. And they don't play at the same time. Like they play in succession. If I can even attempt to spell succession. It's probably like that correctly. Like one after another, right? Chords, you know, it's definitely the next octave above bass. You know what I mean? So that low note on the hand, on the left hand, is like an octave above the bass. And then the right hand is like another octave or whatever. And again, we're talking about where things are going to kind of sit if we're going to play a chord. And that melody is the octave in between here. Right. And the vocalist, I think they have some what I call interplay. Right. All right. So in the technique that we're going to talk about and what I'm doing in my electronic studio. Now, this is through the OPXY. Yeah, I'll talk about it there. But I will throw another instrument in, right? And the strategy is going to be drums, bass, chords, melody, and where the vocal or a solo instrument would be, right? This is what we're going to try to dissect, right? And when I think about this, when I'm writing in this kind of fashion, right, the idea that you're going to make a song and you're going to try to stick to like a real simple way of thinking, right? Now, the reason I tell you to break it down this way too is because you know what you're going to do. You have an order of operation, okay? And when we go to mix later, if we use this strategy to make our music, the success rate in our song sounding good and us wanting to continue to work on it increases, okay? So the idea that, yes, you're going to start working on a song, and yes, the idea is here is your formula, okay? So you're going to do drums. It's like hats, kick, snare, and maybe a percussion. You're going to work on bass, which is going to be one bass sound, not 5 bass sounds. Because I hear students always tell me, well, I thought if I added another bass, it would get thicker. It's going to phase cancel, so don't do that. Chords, the next octave above bass, so there's our chords, and melody is what we're going to focus on in today's quick songwriting tutorial, right? The other thing, and everybody's going to know this, is I'm going to pick a key signature that we're going to play in, right? And so the key that I'm going to pick out of simplicity is going to be F major, all right? And if we had our circle of fifths, and I was going to write it out, which I always do for you, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. All right. And that's like the way our chords lay out. If I had them as a number grid, solfege, if we were singing. So I have some teachers that teach off of numbers. And then I do the Roman numerals because this tells you major, minor breakdown. So every single time you write music, make your little path of how the chords lay out, okay? So now we're in the saddle, right? We got how our strategy is going to line up. And I taught a lesson yesterday, or a couple days ago, that talked about how I cheat and write chords even if I don't know how to write chords. Like, even if I'm not good at it, how can I do it really fast, okay? So here, I'm going to teach you the method. So we're going to play, our progression is going to be a 2 chord and a 3 chord. It's going to be super easy. So it's going to be G minor and it's going to be A minor, right? So it would sound, if I was playing on like a piano sound, let's see if I can do this really fast. It would be like this. It would sound like that, right? It's that quick, okay? Because I hurried up and I picked the 2 chords that I wanted to relate to my music, okay? So the quicker I picked it, the better, right? Now, sorry, Ableton fell asleep. I'm just going to turn it back on. All right, and now I'm going to set a tempo, and I'm going to do 110. I don't know. I'm making it up. All right, so I pick a tempo, 110 BPM. And then I'm going to hurry up and do my drum part now. So as I hit play, everything starts running. All right. And as it's running, I'm going to record the chords really fast. So remember what I said. So the chord channel was 4. I'm going to make sure I have 4 pages. 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, get ready. It's coming around. So that's my progression, right? And I'm going to go to the kick drum, and I'm going to make my kick, right? And we'll go make a snare, which I don't like. pitch it down, right? So snare, and then I'm gonna do, I can do other drums, but I'm in a writing world, right? It's like, how do I do this in the studio fast? Sometimes we only have 10 minutes. Sometimes we only have a half hour, right? So how do we have a strategy, right? And I always come up with a winning strategy for us. We want to make music. We want to succeed. So we already won right now because I did a 2 and a 3 progression. That's what we're working on. And with my bass now, if I know that I want it to be 4 bars, I'm just going to make it 4, right? I'm going to resync everything. 2. All right. And I'm going to think when I play a 2 chord, I'm playing G, B flat, D. When I play the 3 chord, I'm playing A, C, E. And this isn't a joke. This is exactly what goes on in your head when you're doing this, right? So here we go. So right, so super simple, kind of organic, right? Now I write silly break music, that's what I do. And in our strategy, excuse me, I'm still getting over being a little sick. In our strategy, I've done drums, I've done bass, and I've done chords, okay? And it was fast. I've done this all in, it's been about 13 minutes of stream, but I feel like I've done this in less than a couple minutes, right? Now, this is any DAW, this is anything Electron, this is anything Teenage Engineering. I'm using it as the platform to teach today because I want everybody to learn quickly. I don't want to spend time looking for presets and fumbling around. Now, this comes down to your mix as well. Have instruments that mix good together, okay? If you keep using a bass sound that has a chord sound that they're both sine waves and you're wondering why you can't hear the two, it's because you're using 2 things with sine waves and they complement each other and they're not going to sound like different instruments, right? So you might want to try another strategy too in your structure of songwriting, that the chords are with a saw wave, the melodies with a triangle, and the vocal or solo instruments with a sine, okay? Because then the waveforms are naturally going to mix each other and you're not going to have all this conflicting, like, I use 4 saw waves and now I don't know what any of the sounds are, okay? So here we go. I'm going to try to write the next part, which is going to be like a lead, right? And I'm going to also turn down those chords on channel 4. They're a little bit loud. So we're talking about mix. So I'm just turning an instrument down. And I actually don't like the keyboard sound, so I can change that, right? Guitar. Oh my god. That's so cheesy. And I like it. And you can filter things down. Like, if you don't like how stuff sounds, like, seriously, it brings it down in the mix. How nice that. It's like an organ now, right? Pretty cool, right? All right, now, and I'm gonna work on maybe a vocal line, a melody line, right? Because we got most of the bass too, right? Shift, and then I'm gonna resync 2, 3, 4, 2. All right, and now writing a lead part is just as easy. I'm on 2 and 3. I'm focusing. I know I can play these 7 notes and everything's gonna sound good because I picked a key signature to play in. Okay, here we go. It was that fast, right? Now on Ableton, you have clips, and on the OPXY, you have clips, you have takes. So if that was terrible to you, you do new. It's blank on that channel, so that channel's blank, and all of a sudden, guess who can record again? A brand new take. There it is. So another one. And honestly, I might get a new one that's blank because I can play with them and find out which one is gonna sound better with this part, right? So another key strategy when you're writing music, variations, right? Excuse me. How many times do you make something and you just sit in the same spot over and over and over and you get sick of it so fast? That's this new kind of thing too, that like in the XY and in Ableton and in Electron it's called a pattern. You know, so you make new patterns and you copy one pattern, you do it again, and you make a variation, right? That's how you don't get bored with what you're doing, right? And so like that drum beat I made is so easy that I can make a new one. And remember I said percussion, right? So like what if I went back to just the kick track, right? Right? And I'm like, so just like a weird bongo. And like a little like chime, right? These are percussive variations. And I can go right back to the first beat. Boring, right? Exciting. And the word musically that we use there is called development, okay? You can make your music develop if you have the right audio mix, okay? If your instruments aren't fighting each other the entire time you're making music. Because if you've decided to try 5 basses and 3 chords, it's going to be this stack layer of stuff that you can't hear through clearly and precisely, okay? And if you can write with a bass sound and a drum set and say you like some Wurlitzer or some grand piano plugin, my friend Christopher loves, you know, things like Omnisphere because they sound amazing. You can dial in a great sound really quick. It can sit in the mix, and then you can go in and find another bass sound to go with your Omnisphere piano that sounds gorgeous. But if you keep picking bass and double bass and triple bass, you're not going to have a mix that you can play with and add, oh, I didn't like this one part, so I'm going to try it a variation, a different way to develop the song, okay? Now, truth be told, I'm going to do one other thing, and then I'm going to kind of end the stream, but I want to give you guys one more positive, solid note to move on to continue your progression and to keep the mix as solid as it is right now. So the idea is if you keep the instruments that you did in the first part and you just continue writing into the second part that same way, your success rate goes up already because you're doing it. And this already sounds pretty decent. I'm not saying that I'm writing a hit song right now, but I'm just saying I can hear the instrumentation separately, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about just making a variation, right? I got my marker, I got my paper, and again, I've been writing music for over 36 years, and you guys would think I wouldn't have to do this by now. Do you guys think I do this all the time when I write music? Yes, I do. No matter how old I am, I always have a marker and a pen and just like a big sketchbook that I just write this day by day. I just write on my paper, and this gives me like some music strategies so that if like a band member came over, they could be like, oh my God, I saw how you were like writing this. And then you could share this with somebody so that maybe they can help you improve chords. You know, I've got a buddy that's really good at playing chords. His name's Dan, and he can just like whip out extensions. Like it's like, no, there's this other note here. And you're like, how does he do it that good, that fast? But he's on the piano every day. So like you share your little idea with somebody who's better at the piano than you, but you're better at the bass. All of a sudden, the bass player just learned how to piano voice better, and the pianist learned how to listen to the bass voicing so that they're not playing the same voicing at the same time. You know, I don't know how to say that, but it builds space, and it helps you learn how to write better music, okay? So what I'm going to do here, super easy. There wasn't much like resolution in our first part, so I'm not going to jokingly say this, but now I'm going to do a 6-5. So let's listen. If I did 6-5, it would be like a 6 chord. Sorry, I'm being stupid. Look at your paper. D6, D minor. Right? No, wrong one. It's D minor. And it's going to be C major. And what if we threw in B flat major, a 4 chord? Okay, so this is going to be how I'm going to finish this part. Now, in Ableton or whatever you use, the OPXY, the trick now is to make a new part, like new everything. So I'm going to make number 2. I'm going to make new for each one. Right? Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. Okay, and I'm going to actually just, let's see what it sounds like. The bass is what I didn't change. Okay, so I'm going to make, all right, all new clips, right? So if we go to part 1, and this is just like I say in Ableton, you're going to hit a scene, and there is your first, right? And when you go to make the second one, it's like nothing's going on, right? But guess what? We know the roadmap, right? Okay, and if I went to my piano first, because I'm going to play my chords, and this is telling me where I'm at, so I'm waiting for 1 to come around and play the 6th chord. Let's see, 6. Six, 5. Oh, that was bad. Man, 10 or 1 5 1 5 isn't very good at recording your notes. Yeah, it's terrible. I don't know what they did to this last update. Quantizing just sucks sometimes, man. They gotta fix it. All right, so now we're going to my bass. Right? D, C, yeah, and I can declare that. Watch this, watch. Because that was so bad. So let's do it again. 2, 5, that's a 5, that's this one. Yep. We're going to do it again. I'm just redoing the chords because it didn't. There it is, right? And again, the melody line can follow that now because it's pretty straightforward, right? Okay, and remember, strategy. What did we do? We have another scene. 5, 4, 3, and... The drums are so cheesy, I'm sorry. But, you know, okay. I'm going to kind of wrap it up. That was kind of where, again, making a new scene, go out on a limb. You know, when you go to make a new scene, delete your bass and your lead and your melody, make a new part section that's in Ableton or your XY, that's in your new pattern inside of the Electron boxes, and make sure that you make a new strategy for a direction to go, something to change, okay? Don't just sit and play your same loop for 4.5 hours and get bored and turn Ableton off and say, I can't write music, I'm not good enough. Well, no, you didn't give yourself a chance to write another part and to write another part and to write more parts. You know, the more parts you write, the more chance you have to write a better, more strategic song. So, hopefully today was inspirational. Hopefully today got you kind of thinking. Hopefully today made you think about strategy. Maybe today gave you some insight on how I've been doing it for a really long time. And today was about the mix of the instruments and making sure that you're selecting different instruments instead of the same sound all the time. Okay? So hopefully this is going to give you some forward thinking, and you're going to go, oh my God, I never thought of that. For my melody, it's going to be a saw wave. For my chord, it's going to be square. And for my bass, it's going to be a sine. Oh my God, I'm going to learn more about synthesizers and mixing and parts of a song in one day. You know, you can practice all that at one time, right? So stay motivated, stay positive, think of everything in terms of you can do it, think that you can learn chord theory because it's easy, and think to give yourself a chance to write multiple parts and not just sit in the same loop for 6.5 hours, right? And guess what? I'm going to write another part. I'm going to write another part. And I'm going to write up to, 10 strategic parts. That's a little overkill, but I tell people, try to write at least 4 different parts for a song and see what unfolds. Okay? So I appreciate everyone tuning in. Hopefully you're liking the videos. If you want to tell a friend to subscribe because they want to learn music or they want to learn how electronic music is written, they are more than welcome to come to the channel and talk to me and kind of visit and see what we're doing. And if they want to learn more, they could always go online to outofthebag.org. You can see now that I have a Gumroad channel up, and what I mean by that is on Gumroad, you can use my drum packs, you can buy my sample libraries, you can buy things like that. I've helped companies make library packs and sample packs, so you can have some of those even without buying their main instruments or whatever, or if you're not even into modular. I have some of those packs available that I made for Tokyo, back in Tokyo Synthfest days. So yeah, and like I said, if people need help, you send me a line, drop a comment, let me know what you need. If there's some kind of strategy you want to tackle or something you want me to cover on stream. And yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. So hopefully I'm going to do some more streams and get into talking to people more about ideas and strategy. And hopefully, yeah, you're getting inspired. So the main thing too is that this is helping you write better music theory and not feel so daunted by looking at the circle of fifths. Alrighty, so go out there and make some good music, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate everybody for being out there. All right, everybody. Hey, have a good day. Thanks for tuning in.